Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to make a start on the side skirts. Although if you've watched the last video, you'll know I've already cheated a little bit and this skirt's already done. So all I've got to do is replicate that on the other side. This one's not 100% finished. There are a couple of things that I need to do. I need to cap off the ends here and over here. But before I do that, obviously you've seen that I've profiled the ends to kind of match the curvature of the wheels. But I didn't actually think of this, but Nigel Pinder, when he saw the picture, he suggested I try jacking up the car, because obviously when the suspension droops there might not be enough clearance there, and it might rub on the skirt, or I might not even be able to get the wheel off. So I will have to jack up the car first, make sure it clears, and then once it does, then I'll be able to cap those ends off. But before I go on and do that, first thing I'm going to do on this side is, you will see all the seal trims are in place on this side, so I've got to remove all of that. The skirt on the other side is actually set on the top of this seal with a couple of ridge nuts in it holding it in place, so this all has to come off, and I'll probably take these ones off on the bottom of the door as well. So that's probably going to be a bit of a boring task, so I'll get a heat gun and I'll set this to do a time lapse. And there we go. Didn't take quite as long as I thought it was going to. I've still got to take these door trims off as well. The reason why I've got to take all of this off, by the way, is not just because of the skirts, because the skirt probably would have sat underneath this moulding here. It's because when I go to widen the rear arches, I'm going to have to cut the door along here to bring the door out, and obviously I won't be able to make the moulding work with it. So those trims have got to come off just so I can widen the rear arches. And if they've got to come off, they've all got to come off. So that's why there's probably a proper way to remove all of these without damaging them. There's probably quite a few of you watching this cringing, because they're probably worth a fair bit, but if they're any use to you, I do actually have all of the trims that I've taken off the car. I'm pretty sure I do anyway. Let me know if you need any, because I don't need them. Right, as you can see, it came off really well over here. Most of the adhesive is off. I was a little bit impatient this end. I probably should have waited for the hot air gun to heat up a little bit more. I just found that it just started to peel off really nicely there. This end I've mudded up a bit. I wish I'd known it would come off nicely with a hot air gun, because the whole of the other side looks like that when I did it when I didn't have a hot air gun. So I just pulled it all off and left all that shit in there. So I do have to clean all of this off. What I'll do is I'll soak it in some WD-40 overnight, and hopefully that should all pretty much wipe off, but it doesn't really matter because it's all going to get covered up anyway. But for my own peace of mind, I'd like to know that it's not a shit state under there. So I've removed the door because this next bit is a lot easier. Actually, I probably should have removed the door when I was taking the trim off, because that would have made life a bit easier anyway. But what I'll do now is I'll unbolt the other skirt on the other side of the car, and then I'll get these bits down from the loft to start making the skirt on this side. So there you go, Mr. Pinder, that is full droop on the suspension, and plenty of clearance there. And if I just move that round, it gets close, but it's never going to be completely unloaded to that extent, so I don't think it will be a problem. And then as we go to the rear, not full droop, but we still have plenty of clearance here, so I don't see a problem with that. So I will probably leave those as they are and make the other skirt exactly the same as that one. So here we are, that is the skirt removed from the near side. Those of you that are wondering the weight of this, if you're into that sort of thing, is around about 2.5 to 3 kilos. It's fairly inaccurately measured on a set of house scales, but yeah, not particularly heavy. It is made out of 1.6mm aluminium. And here it is. This is the profile that I'm going for. Obviously that's the inside profile. We also have a 50mm strip and a bit of once bent angle. The angle is there to make this vent. To be honest, this is the first version. I'll probably end up tweaking this later on down the line, and I probably would do this slightly differently, but I've made one now. I'll make another one to match. It shouldn't take too long. Then I'll send them off to powder coating. So it's probably fairly self-explanatory. I want to make a mirror image of it, so I've flipped this one around, put them back to back or face to face if that's your thing, and I get a nice fine point Sharpie and quite simply trace it. And on the rear, another line there, and that will make a complete mirror of that. So I've got to do that for the top edge as well, and then I'll grab the jigsaw and cut it out. Sharpie, Sharpie, where the fuck you gone? So just quickly, whilst I have been cutting out this skirt, I just quickly checked my YouTube and it looks like we have just ticked over 1,000 subs. I'm amazed. Thank you very much, guys. When I started the channel, I couldn't have even imagined getting 1,000 subs. I'm just a guy in a garage messing around with a car. Really, really honoured that I have got so many subscribers, but there could be more. I have just checked, and over 70% of those that watched the last video are non-subscribers. If you're not already subscribed and you do like watching what I do, please do it now. Pause the video, click the subscribe button. Thank you very much. So I'll just try this on for size. See if it fits in place. There we go. That looks pretty good. So there we are. I've just wedged that in place there just to check, and that looks about right. So all I've got to do is drill the holes in the top of the skirt. I'll then transfer those holes to the sill and drill and install the riv nuts in there. And I've also got to put this vent in the side here. So what I'll probably do is, because it's getting a little bit late, I will do this first because that's the noisy bit, and I'll get that out of the way now. Right, so I've made a couple of plunge cuts into the material with this multi-tool just to get it going, and then I can get the blade of the jigsaw in there to cut the straight lines. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. This is on the inside of this vent, and all I've got is 2 bits of angle aluminium. These are 50mm deep, and where I've cut out this flap, basically I've put these either side, and if I pull that up you can kind of see that that is now making a vent similar to that one over there, like that. Now that I've got that kind of in place, what I'll do is I'll run a marker down the inside, cut these to suit, rivet these in place, and then just run a few tack welds along its length. So there we go. You can see a bit more clearly now what I'm aiming for, I've marked up on the inside here where the rivet's going to go. I'll drill them out from this side so I know that I'm definitely getting the angle, and rivet it from the outside in. So there we go, those angles are riveted in there, and you can see this part here is still loose. Just need to weld that. One thing that I did forget to mention whilst I have the drill and the rivets out is you can see on this skirt we have this return on the end, so I'll quickly rivet that onto the bottom now whilst I have the drill and the rivets out. So here we are, just about to weld. You can see I have got this piece riveted on. This is what I've got to weld, so I'll just do a little bead there, just stitch it all the way along there. And there we go, that's it, very quickly welded up. All I've got to do now is get this mounted onto the car. So I grab the drill, the rivet nut tool, and get that on there now. There we go. What I will be doing is when I get under the car, I will make a couple of stays. There's a few studs on the bottom of the car just to triangulate and stiffen that up a bit more. But I am quite happy with how that is, and yeah, I think that looks all right. Right, I think that'll do me for now. As you can see, I've got both skirts on the car, both sides there. So all I've got to do now is to wet up the ends just to clean it up and send them off to powder coating. And I've just realised in here is where I expect the exhaust to come out, both sides. So I am going to have to mock those up, cut the holes, and then send them off to powder coating. So a little bit more to do on this. But for now, I'm going to end the video there. Once they're back from the powder coaters and I've done the rest of the work to that, I'll catch up in a later video so you can see how they look. But I'm quite happy with the progress that I've managed to get done this evening. So if you've enjoyed the video, please like. If you haven't already, subscribe. Once again, thank you very much for getting me to 1,000 subscribers. It's really, really appreciated. But like I mentioned earlier on in the video, there's over 70% of you who aren't subscribed who are watching this. So if you haven't already done so, please subscribe. But for now, that's me done, and I will catch you in the next video. Thanks.